Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours with Our Hometown. I'm your host, Matt Larson, and today on the call with me, I have as panelists from our customer support dream team, Terry and Vera. Welcome, both of you. How are you doing today?
Hey, Matt, doing good.
All right.
Matt, I'm doing good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon on the East Coast. So we're coming to you live today, as we do every Monday at noon, and talking about some of the things going on at the company. I like to kick it off with a little Our Hometown news. But today, the main topic of discussion will be reverse publishing. That's the theme this month. We're talking about that every week, different aspects of it. Last week, we discussed the reverse publishing for articles and how you can bulk export an entire edition or individual articles or individual categories. It's a very flexible system, but that was just the editorial side. This today, so the digest of that, the whole video is available on our blog. This was put out in the newsletter last week, so if you want to check that out, it's an hour-long presentation. But today we're talking about reverse publishing classifieds, which is a brand new feature. We developed this with the help of largely the Acorn newspapers out in California. They have wanted this feature for a long time. They've wanted the ability to take orders on the website and then reverse publish them to print. But I think even more than that, the publisher really wanted the ability to get color photos in the print edition for these classified ads. And so we got all of that working in one shot. That's currently in production there. And we're going to look at that whole process, how you can take your orders on the website and then reverse publish them to print. But before we get to that, I got some breaking news for you guys this morning. I know Terry has been working hard this morning on getting the Times Independent from Moab, Utah live. So thank you very much for that, Terry. Congrats for a very smooth launch this morning. I am just thrilled to have these guys as a customer. They're from Southeast Utah, my new home state, and our first customer in Utah, and from the land of the arches, just a beautiful part of the country. And so unfortunately, it looks like there's a little bit of fire going on right now, as we've seen in Colorado and Utah. So, some of the national stories are hitting our local papers, which is interesting. But this site is a kind of a new design, and it was basically a copy of the site that they had before. So a little bit of background on these guys: they were on WordPress. They had a local developer do their WordPress site, but they were encountering a lot of the issues that we see with independent developers that do this sort of as a side job, or maybe they're like a jack of all trades. They do any type of website, and they think they can do newspaper websites, but it's really its own animal. And we've spent 23 years developing a platform that is turnkey for newspapers. So it's not something that you can just do overnight, and you really can't just take WordPress out of the box and make it work for a newspaper. There's a lot of customization involved. And with Our Hometown, you just get that all right out of the box. But I was just super impressed with what Rachel was able to do on this design. She pretty much took the current template that they had. They said that they liked their template, but the site was just performing badly, and they weren't getting basically their provider wasn't very responsive to their issues. And so a customer like that, if you're in that situation, if you have a WordPress website and you're facing these issues, just with technical difficulties on the site, the plugins, they're out of date, they break each other, the site goes down on a regular basis, Our Hometown is a great fit for a publisher like you, because we take care of all those things. A lot of what we do is maintaining the platform. So, we're on call via email 24/7, 9 to 5. You can call us with any issues, and we will take care of these things right away. This is all that we do. And, so we're really specialized in terms of web development. Anything else you want to add, Terry, in the time that we've only worked with this group for a few weeks now, because they came to one of our webinars, and then after a week or two, they signed, and then they wanted to go live right away. So we haven't really worked with them much, but anything you want to add to all those comments about this new site?
Not really, other than they're a great bunch to work with. I mean, so far
Yes.
it's been right on the ball, on top of everything, and great
Yep.
questions. I always love the good questions.
Right. Yep. Great group of people down there, down in Moab. So, yep, that's the breaking news this morning. They just went live, and so they're probably in there updating the site right now. And I'm sure it's a lot faster than the site that they had before. It was agonizingly slow, the update process for them. Okay, moving on. Our second story today, I just want to go through some of the headlines from our publisher newsletter last week. If you're not getting this newsletter, please email ops and let us know, and we'll make sure that, if you're not on the list, we'll get you on there. If you are, maybe it's going to your spam box, that happens, or it's going to your promotions folder on Gmail. So there's ways that we can get it out of there so that you can see this every week. But the customers that get this love it. They see it every week. Twice a week we send out a newsletter, most weeks. That's been pretty consistent for the last few months. And we're just talking about new features so that you're aware. We're always improving the system, and probably 90% of the improvements are based off of features that you've asked for as publishers, either improvements to existing features or just brand new features entirely. We get all our ideas really from your questions that come into the ops support channel. So let's take a look at last week's story. Was a feature update. So this was an existing feature that we updated. We had the newsletter function, the broadcast options, where on every article you can blast it out to your newsletter subscribers with one click. But that was actually kind of an issue, right, Terry? Can you give me a little bit of background? I think some people didn't like that it was just one click, right?
Well, yeah, I think, we're also used to having confirmation pop-ups that
Right.
it was kind of funny. We did have a publisher click that button without realizing it, and all of a sudden, I mean, he's got a huge email list, and
Right.
he accidentally sent this his article out to all of his subscribers, and
Right.
Tom's really cool. He was funny about it, but we've been really hoping for a confirmation message for a long time, so this is
Yes.
a really, really good thing.
That's right. Yeah, this is something that isn't a native function of WordPress and the broadcast option. So we had to develop it. And just to give you a little, idea of what goes on behind the curtain here, when we see those requests, or we have a customer, have an experience like that where it's like, this didn't work as I expected it to, it'd be nice if it could just do this, then we add it to our list of basically kind of like nice to have features. These aren't things that are absolutely critical for the site to function. They're not actually like problems with the site, but it's more of a user interface kind of thing. So this has been on that list, and James, our lead developer, got it knocked off recently. And so let me just read through this. Basically every article on the platform displays the broadcast options panel in the edit screen, which allows you to share via email newsletter. In the past, the button immediately created the newsletter and sent it out to your mailing list. But, as Terry said, that was not what was expected. So we've created the confirmation pop-up. So you can read more about it on the blog here. There's all the details of exactly how it looks. But I'm going to just show you really quick. I think I had this page open. Let me open it again on this Yankton demo site. We'll just go to any article, and this doesn't have any newsletters, newsletter subscribers on it anyway, but if I go to edit the article, then on the right column is where you've got your broadcast options, share via email newsletter. So in the past, if I hit this, it would just go out right then. And it's, like I said, it was just kind of not what was expected. So now when I hit it, it's going to say, are you sure you want to email this article to all newsletter subscribers? Just that double check so that you can always back out. I think some people are just kind of curious sometimes about the things on the site, and usually clicking things isn't going to just blast an email out to all your readers. So I think people had gotten used to just being able to check on, basically click on anything on the back end and have it not really do anything immediately. There's usually a second step. So that's the idea behind it. If I had said okay, then this would have gone out to all the people on this newsletter list. Any other questions on that? I think this is just like a great feature update, because the more you use your newsletter, the better you're going to get in terms of open rates, click-through rates. Then you can sell that kind of exposure and that activity to advertisers. You can use it to promote your subscriptions. Just overall, a healthy newsletter that is opened by a high percentage of your subscribers is a good thing. And we've seen papers like the Acorn that send out updates multiple times a week. They have the highest open rates. So there's definitely a correlation there. Okay, let me just check one thing here. Okay, we're good on that. All right, so let's move on to other stories. We blasted out in the newsletter last week the story about the New York Times, but I've talked about that in a number of office hours, so we won't go into that today. In the newsletter, we're always announcing the topics for these office hours, so you can pick and choose what you want to come to, but we are here every Monday, and we're free, we're available to discuss anything. These meetings are for you, so you can think of it almost as like just a standing go-to meeting that you can join and ask questions on anything. But this is like kind of to seed the discussion. So reverse publishing for classifieds, we'll talk about that later, just a few minutes. A couple other events I want to talk about. Friday, September 18th, this Friday at noon, we're going to be doing a virtual conference, a public conference for reverse publishing from WordPress to InDesign. And during this session, it's not going to just be me this week, actually. Luckily, I was able to get Meg Norris to join me for this. She's one of the leaders in this area of reverse publishing. She was one of the first of our customers to adopt the new technology, and she went from full service to reverse publishing. She took her weekly that she had with us at the time over to that workflow, and then at the same time launched 4 new websites with us. She always had these papers, but she didn't have websites for them for a long time. So now she's got 5 websites using reverse publishing, so that allows her to write the stories on the website first, publish those immediately on the website as breaking news if she wants. She can push these articles out in newsletters, maybe get some feedback from readers before it's finally released to print. So you could look at this as a way to improve your print product. If you can put the story out there as soon as you have the information on the web, and then see what kind of comments you get, what kind of reaction there is, maybe that could drive or influence the final story that comes out in print. I think that's one benefit that I've been kind of contemplating recently. So this virtual conference will be just kind of an overview, a high-level introduction to this workflow of reverse publishing or digital first publishing, but we're also going to have Meg show us her workflow. So I'm gonna have her share her screen and walk us through how she creates an article on the website and gets that article into InDesign. Okay, last event I just want to plug, again, we're getting closer and closer to this, will be the NNA virtual convention, October 1st through the 3rd. We're going to be part of that as, at the trade show, the virtual trade show, but we're also giving 5 speaker sessions on paywalls. We're talking about what else? Video production, donation strategies for your website, a lot of different things, kind of a wide spectrum of topics, just different things that we've already covered in our virtual conferences that we're going to bring to the NNA members. So check that out if you want to join. There's a lot of speakers. You can learn more about it on our blog. Okay, and as always, I just want to remind you that if there's anything that you want to learn more about, we're always looking for ideas to, talk about things in the newsletter, the weekly newsletter. So just reply to that newsletter and just say, hey, I like what you're doing here, but I'd like to learn more about advertising or AdSense or AdRotate or something like that. Okay, and the other customer newsletter last week, I just want to emphasize again, is we've got this limited time opportunity for anyone that's using full service, which means we take your PDF and we extract the stories and the ads, put them on the website for you. Anyone that has that service and is using that each week, you can now, for a limited time, use the reverse publishing tool, just because you're not going to actually be using it for production if we're doing the extraction. So that's why, we want to open it to you and at least get it in your hands, allow you to test drive it, and just see if it's a good fit for you. And then we can talk about a strategy for migrating to that model. Just like Meg Norris did, she really did it herself. She just kind of figured it all out and knew exactly what she wanted. But it doesn't have to be like that for every publisher, and we don't expect it to be. We're here to hold your hand through the whole process. A lot of publishers we've seen, they migrate over time, section by section. That's one option that we could also use. So if you were, for example, interested in reverse publishing your, let's just say your obits, that's the section that gets the most traffic, and you think of it as kind of like a breaking news story. So let's say you want to do your reverse publishing for the obits category first, then what you could do is start writing those stories on the website, reverse publishing them to print, and then you would just need to tell our staff that they don't need to extract that section. And then we'll just skip that during full service extraction. We'll do all the other stories the same as always. But that way you can kind of get in the flow and get the feel for how this would work for the whole edition. And then you can just keep adding on categories to the reverse publishing workflow rather than full service. Okay, and so this is open and available to anyone on full service. We're not exactly sure when we're going to, how long this is. It's definitely not going to be an unlimited thing. So please act as soon as possible. It's probably going to be the end of September that this promotion will be available for you to use this for free. So contact us, fill out the form on our website, or just shoot us an email at ops if you're interested. Okay, let's see. I think that's all that I got for news today. So let's get to the main topic, which is the reverse publishing for classifieds. Okay, so we've got now, this is an example from Wilson County News. This is one of our customers that actually is taking us up on this offer this month to use the reverse publishing tools at no additional charge. Even though, our pricing, it's actually, it's part of the a la carte model. So, it's an additional $90 if you were self-service to use all these features. But if you're full service, you can use it for free this month. And so that's what she's doing. She's coming in here and just kind of playing around with it, envisioning how this would work for her staff. And so she's doing that with the reverse publishing for articles, but here's the classified reverse publishing plugin. So this is what it would look like on your dashboard. You could click here. And this is the export page. But before we get to that, I should just step back and show you where all this information is coming from. First of all, it's going to be coming from the classifieds plugin. So what we would want to do, and we can set you up with this part of it without doing the reverse publishing. That's actually what Wilson County did. We can set up a classified section on your site that's for online classifieds. And you could manually put in the classifieds from print if you wanted to do it that way. But I think a lot of people use this section as like an online only classified section. So let's see, I think the new Pelican is a good example where I can look at their classified section here. And so this would be like, I haven't actually asked them recently exactly how they update this, but there's a number of ways that you can get the classifieds in here and then get them to appear like this. So this is a very nice, easily navigatable section. I can do keyword search. I can do category filtering to just look at employment ads. But I can also place an ad. So I can place several different ads. It looks like I can do birth announcements, wedding announcements. These are all just using gravity forms. But what we have here is, oh yes, so they are actually doing the reverse publishing. So this is basically what the form would look like. All classified ads appear online and in print weekly. So they're just making it all in one. They're not really saying it's this price for online, it's this price for print, it's this price for both. They just make it one price for everything, which I think is smart. Vera, I don't know if you come from this business. I mean, at Trader's Guide, like, did you do anything like this? I think what we did there was actually took it from the CMS that you use to manage the classifieds, and we just fed it to the website, right?
Yes, yes, but it was all one price and it appeared in both places too.
Right, right. So it's the same from the user's perspective, but with this, the back end's a little bit different. So this is what a form would typically look like for taking a classified ad through the website for online and or print. You're going to need to first choose your category. So let's just say for sale. I'm not going to fill out this whole ad because this is a live site, but here you would build your ad. You're going to need, some text in there, so to describe the product, and then we can set this form up to narrow down the start date, and this makes sense because of the print component. So you basically, what this person can do, users here or someone looking to sell something can only choose Wednesdays for the start date, and because that's when it's going to show up in print, and it's also going to appear on the website, I believe. You can have it, you can embargo the ad for the web, or you can have it appear online immediately. I think it makes sense to have it appear online immediately because you might as well, why wait if it's a garage sale coming up in a few days and it's not even going to make the print edition, then you're definitely going to want it to show up right away. So there's options for this. This is all configurable, but basically most papers try to boil it down and keep it real simple and kind of think of it in terms sort of a little bit print centric still. So they're saying this is going to run for 5 weeks, but what they're really talking about is 5 editions. It will be on the website for 5 weeks as well, but this is all kind of centered around the print edition. And then you can add some extra features for styling to make it stand out. You can add a photo. We talked about how the Acorn is doing this for $5, and this is adjusting your quote in real time as I check these boxes. They upload the image right here. This form works perfectly on mobile phones too, because the whole site is responsive, which is super convenient. Most people, 99.9% of people are just going to take the picture on their phone now. They're not going to use a digital camera and upload to their computer. So it's important that this works well on mobile. So I've got all my options. I've got my ad created, and then let's see, we had a problem. Oh, I'm just going to say forget the photo for now, just because we don't need to upload that. And then the last page is contact information. It's important to get things like the phone number and email so that you can follow up if there's some question on the order form, how they wanted it to appear in print. It's really important to have their contact info. So we make that required. And then you can pay online right now, and that's really the only options in this case with the credit card. And the thing that you're going to need for this is Stripe, unless, well, let's just leave it at that. You really need Stripe to use this system because Stripe is the one payment platform that allows you to do subscriptions and the classified ads and any other type of payment processing that you want to do, like for events. PayPal doesn't allow you to do multiple products like that. it would be subscription only. So that's why we always suggest using Stripe. Okay, so that's your order form. Let me know if you guys have any questions on this, jump in at any time. But I'm gonna just jump back to this page. So if I paid for that ad and submitted it, it would show up in this list and it would be waiting approval. Because we always wanna, as publishers, we wanna make sure that there isn't a bunch of nonsense being put out on our sites. So even if they're paying for it, it's better to, just require approval. So it would just say pending approval. You come in, click, open up the ad and hit publish. Okay, instead of update. This would say publish instead because it would be a pending ad. Okay, so once that is all submitted and it's live on the website, then we're pretty much at the print step. So this is happening all week long. You're getting notified when orders are being submitted, so you know when to come in here and approve them. But let's say now it's Wednesday and it's time to lay out the paper. All that I got to do for this is go to Classifieds Reverse Pub, and then I'm going to choose the date that I want to export. I think I'm going to do Wednesday, and then generate XML. Let's make sure that I didn't actually test it for Wednesday. We'll see if this works as I expect. Okay, good. So she's got a ton of ads in here that are, as it says here, they are scheduled to publish on or before this date. So it's again kind of all designed around the print edition. So all you got to do is know when the print edition date is, or when the layout date is, or really when the deadline is for print. You want to take that date because that is something that you definitely want to advertise on the order form. You take the deadline date, and any ads that have been published on or before that date will be included in this export. And what we have here is just a preview. It's helpful to have a preview so that you don't have to download the XML file and realize that there's nothing in it. So we have this quick preview, but if I were to set something out, I think if I set something out way in the future, we're not going to have the same ads. So this is, I guess, an ad that's just running for months. It's running into 2020, but most of those ads are not doing that. Okay, so let's go back to the 16th, generate that. We're generating classified ads. We're going to get a preview, and at the same time, we've generated this XML file. So remember from last week, XML is how we export the articles too. So it's the exact same file format. So the import process is going to be actually exactly the same. So then we just show that file in our Finder. And you see I've got a couple test files that I did earlier today. It gets exported as a zip because it is a lot of stuff in there, and we need to unpack that zip folder into just a regular folder. And if I open that, then you'll see I've got a bunch of images. Now the images don't appear on the preview page, but you have images associated with all these ads. And then we've got the XML file. So again, it's this zip folder that contains an XML and a bunch of images. That's the exact same way it works for editorial. Okay, now we are ready to open up InDesign. Okay, now here's my template. So you'd want to just start with this every week. You don't want to have to redo these lines. You have your classified template page. And this is a nice large newspaper sized page. We got 6 columns. This is how a lot of classified sections look. If yours looks any different, it's no problem. It will work fine. If you have 5 columns instead or whatever, you'll see how that's gonna be no problem. Now I just import my XML. So if I go to import, now I'm gonna go to downloads and look for that folder, and they all start with class. So it's easier to find. So I did the 916 edition. I choose that XML. Again, I can't choose any JPEGs because this is the import XML function. So it's really easy to find your file. You can merge the content, that's fine. and it's just gonna appear in this root folder. And it's gonna have all this stuff, category, content, graphics, but you don't even need to worry about dragging things in one at a time. This is why it's even kind of more slick than the editorial, because with editorial, you got to make a lot of decisions about where the headline appears, where the image appears. The boxes are going to be different depending on how long the article is. But with this section for classifieds, I can just drag that root folder in. Okay, now there's a bunch of ads right there, and they look, I can do some styling on them if I want at this point, and we actually have ways to carry over styling from the website, but this is just like your kind of vanilla import. So that's the first column. Now what I can do is hit that red plus button at the bottom and fill out this whole page, one column at a time. And you'll see that some of the ads have images, and when they do, those appear underneath. Let's see, is that might be, oh no, we still have more. Okay, so you see how this fits? It's like 90% of the way there, 95% of the way there. Maybe there's a little bit of tweaking that needs to go on to fill in this space. I could make this image taller. I could, do a lot of things, crop it differently. I could crop this one differently so it shows up before. It depends, so this is where the paginator would come in and do their thing to maybe, this is the bid notice category, they could give that its own styling. But this is a way to get the majority of the content in there in bulk and be sure that you've got all the ads that are currently running on the website, which means that they have been paid for this edition. Okay. Any questions on that at all from you two?
No, just a comment. It's a lot easier than when I used to do it. That's for sure.
So did you do it one ad at a time and just build blocks for each separate ad?
That's how we used to do it.
Yeah.
We had a program called Endeavor
Okay.
back in 2016, and you had to manually type them in. And then when you exported it, it would auto-populate, but you had to customize them to where they would fit the paper, and that didn't always happen. You had to shrink and crop the images, make sure that they fit the boxes that we had. And then Account Scout was a little bit different. We had an export to go online, and then we had to import it to go into the paper. So there was a lot of different hoops to jump through. This is so much simpler.
Right. Yeah. It's simpler because it's all kind of based around the website. I think that's what makes it simpler. Instead of having a third-party program that has to publish to the website and print, everything's starting on the website. It's there in real time, and then you just got to get it back to print. Now, I definitely want to point out here that like these sections here, you see they have little red brackets around them. Those are the categories. So I can click like on this here, autos, and you see how it highlights this category. So we can do actually even better than what we have done here. What we've done at the Acorn, they knew exactly what they wanted. Like they wanted each of these category headings to be centered in the column, to be bold, underlined. They had a bunch of different styling, basically paragraph styles in place on the site. But this doesn't really have any of that. But when they do it, they drag it in, and these categories are already spaced out, so you can see them. They kind of blend in right now if you're not looking for them. So you definitely want to make these stand out more. But my point is that it can be even more turnkey than what I just showed you. You don't even necessarily have to take those steps to style the category headings. We can do that for you because we know what categories they're in because we require the person to choose a category when they're placing the ad. That's the first thing they do. Let me show you one other thing here. If I go back to this template, this is one that I've used in the past. So what you can do, and this is just like another time saver. If I just delete this root folder I'm going to do it actually on this one. I still have the formatting and the layout information here. So it still knows that whatever is in the root folder, I want it to appear in all 6 columns. So what the process would be each week after you lay out the new edition, you have them in all categories or all columns, then you delete the root folder and save it as your template for next week. Okay, so I call it laid out template. So this has already been laid out. Now, if I go to File, Import XML, grab that same root folder, boom, it's just done. It pops in now. So you don't even have to do that step of adding the columns with the red plus sign that I did. You just need to do that the first time that you lay out your classified section. And then as long as you save the template with those instructions in there, and the way you do that is you just delete the root folder and it'll remove the content, but it'll still have this, you know, in this this root console. So you could, it's all there basically. So you don't need to do the adding of the columns. It'll just lay out the whole, all the current ads in one shot. So pretty cool stuff. I was really impressed with what they had as a vision at the Acorn newspapers. They knew exactly what they wanted, and they were really able to guide our developers to create something, you know, really effective, very efficient, and allows you to kind of tap into that online classified market, you know, because what's the competition for classifieds? Well, you know, people can run stuff on Facebook Marketplace now. They can put it in Craigslist. You know, they can do a lot of those things for little to no cost, but they cannot get it in print. They just don't have that option. So let's, you know, take advantage of what we have that differentiates us from those platforms and offer the online component and the print in one bundle. I think that's a really good strategy. Okay, any questions on that?
Yeah, I did have one question right there. Perfect. This is what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
When you're selecting your file, this knows to only select the current classifieds. How do last week's classifieds disappear from this download?
Right. Yes, they will disappear from here as soon as they expire from the site, and that is going to be determined by what was selected when the ad was created in terms of how many weeks it needs to run. So that's actually all controlled right here. So this ad is only going to run for 1 week, and so it was published on September 14th. And so it's going to run until the 21st, and then it will delete itself from the website, and so it will no longer be available to be pulled into the classifieds.
Okay, perfect. So there's no chance of having errant ads running around in there that, you know,
Right.
Week or the week before. Cool.
Right. Yeah, because like we saw in the order form, it's really where is that option? They have to choose something at least 1 week. They can do up to 10 weeks. So yeah, there's really no way for it to not have an expiration date. It would need to do that. I guess the one way that it could possibly happen is if you manually created a classified on the back end. And I'm just curious now, if we go to classifieds, add a new classified. I don't really want to publish this on her site, but I'm just going to check. Yeah, this is not actually a required field. So as the administrator, as the publisher, you could create a classified ad without an expiration date, and then it would just keep showing up. It would always be on the site, and it would always be part of that export. But that's not something that a customer could do. You know, someone advertising on the site, they wouldn't be able to do that because they have to choose at least the 1 week. that
Oh,
it would.
cool. So that would work if a publisher wanted to throw a house ad in there.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. They could have a house ad. Right. Right. They could have an ongoing house ad for advertising in the classified section online and in print, have the URL there for how to place the order. And then, yeah, that just shows up every time. Exactly. That's a good one. Let's see here. Anything else to point out about this? I mean, those are pretty much the broad strokes. So, I'll just lay this out there. If anyone's watching this and you want to try it, just shoot us an email at ops@our-hometown.com. We'll turn on the plugin, and we're happy to jump on a call like this to walk you through how to use it, because it is still a relatively new feature. So we want to, get people's feedback on how it works, how it could be better, all that good stuff. So we're really open to your ideas on it. So don't hesitate to contact us. And but we don't need to have a meeting on it. If you're the type of person that's just really curious, like Kristen at Wilson County, we'll just turn it on and then you can experiment with it on your own time. All right. I think that's all that I want to cover today. Let's see. I was thinking about talking a little bit about events and the event calendar because I'm meeting with a customer, a potential customer this afternoon on that. But it's very similar to the classifieds, really. It's the same. It's still geo directory, and it's the order forms are very similar. So I think that would be a little bit redundant for today, but we'll probably have an office hours dedicated to events in the near future. I think that's something more and more people are interested in doing. All right. Any other comments today? We finished a little bit early today, so do you guys have any comments or questions? Anything you want to add to this overview? If not, that's okay. I think it's pretty straightforward.
No, I think I'm good. That was very interesting.
All right, cool. Yeah, so now,
I was interested to see that too.
good. Yeah, now we'll have this video on hand after Steve edits it down this week. We'll get it in the knowledge base and then also on a blog post so that you guys have it handy to send out, because whenever possible, we want to just share the video right away, and then if they want a live meeting, we can always do that. But that's actually a quick question, just unrelated to this, Vera. Have you seen the knowledge base at all? It's not something that I don't think we've been updating it as much as we should. And I want to talk to Jack a little bit about that. But the knowledge base on the site, are you familiar with that?
Oh yes, I go through it a lot and I refer customers to it sometimes.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is just a super useful resource, and it's all indexed very nicely. I just think we got to make it a priority, Terry, to we're doing all these awesome blog posts, but the blog just keeps going back in time. I mean, I guess you could do a keyword search on it.
Yeah, that's what when you're logged in, I just search and it comes, the link comes up and then I send that to customers. Customers love that stuff.
Right.
Because it's a point of reference that they can look at in the future.
Right. But yeah, the newsletter though, unfortunately, is not really searchable, or sorry, the blog, you can't really search it on the front end. Maybe we could change that. Maybe that's the thing to change. But what I'm thinking is when we do a blog post on, like the confirmation pop-up, that, I don't know if that would require a knowledge base article, but, we create the blog post and then we kind of memorialize it in the knowledge base so that people can search for it easier. The blog I see is like a way to bring these ideas to the forefront, less of a training tool. That's just how I see it, because just of the way it's organized. But we can think about that offline and think about different ways to optimize that. But no, this is great. I appreciate it very much, you guys. This was fun. I think we covered a lot of good ground, and we'll be doing the virtual conference Friday. I forget what I'm doing for office hours next week. I may still have to set that up, but yeah, I think we're good for today. So we'll call it a meeting, and let me know if you guys have any other questions, if anything comes up after the fact on, you know, how to make the classified export a little bit better. But I think we're good for now. So thank you very much, both of you. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good afternoon.
You too. All right, thanks. Take care.